Hey everybody, happy Autism Awareness Month 2018. This is my A to Z, day 1. A stands for AAC. You may have heard of AAC before, and you might think of a speech generating device such as this. AAC actually stands for Augmentative and Alternative Communication. The reason this is important for autism is oftentimes children on the autism spectrum have a severe or significant speech and language difficulty that renders them with a barrier to be able to communicate effectively in ways that the rest of us know how to communicate. So we have built different ways for them to be able to communicate with us. Mostly it's visual, using pictures. Also, alternatively, a lot of children on the spectrum not only have difficulty communicating due to a speech and language disorder such as A2, who has childhood apraxia of speech, but sometimes they have difficulty processing the information that is given to them verbally and then processing the information quickly enough to be able to give it back to you. When you think about conversation, when you think about back and forth, that is a constant error correction procedure. If I'm talking to you and then you say something to me and I didn't know what you were going to say, I have to error correct whatever it was I was thinking about in order to speak back to you what it is I'm thinking about. Think about all the different processes that takes to do that. So even people on the spectrum who can speak, and maybe who even speak really, really well and have a great vocabulary, if they're not able to carry on a conversation back and forth, that's often the time why. You may have met Chloe. Hi, Chloe. Chloe is one of Asher's friends. She's a 25-year-old woman on the spectrum. She's incredibly intelligent. She's actually a great friend. And she, I think, communicates beautifully. But the moment she has difficulty communicating her needs or her thoughts, or she's overwhelmed emotionally, that gets in the way of her executive functioning skills and her ability to error correct and her ability to process and her ability to get her thoughts out. So she often uses a speech generating device, or AAC, in order to get that across. A2 has used this device for years. This is it is an app that goes on the iPad. This is called Lamp Words for Life. It is through the company called PRC, Prentke-Romich. Before it was an app, it was a device, and we actually had to write it into his IEP that he wasn't allowed to carry it on the steps because it was so heavy and it was so tiny that if he were to drop it and it were to break, he didn't have one. It had to go off to Worcester, Ohio and be repaired. So this helps a little bit. You can carry this device. Believe it or not, this has between 5,000 and 8,000 words in it. I was drawn to this because it's how language develops in typically developing children. If you think about it, first you get one word, and then you get 2 words, and then you get 3 words, and then you get pronouns. And then you get adverbs, action verbs, and you get pronouns, and all of those fancy things happen in a really specific way. I'm not going to show you. It's so complicated. AAC does not have to be high-tech. It can be low-tech. Sometimes you might hear people talk about PECs. And when they say PECs, they think they're talking about this. This is actually what's called a PECs icon. PECS stands for the Picture Exchange Communication System. It is a full-on system that teaches language, much in the way that this teaches language. The first thing that has to happen using picture exchange communication is that we have to get a child who has a communication issue to want to communicate something with us. So we give them something highly motivating and get them to hand us a picture or to touch a picture in close proximity for a specific reward. Over time, we get them to come across the room to tell us the same thing. And then we build and build and build out until they can build sentences. Just because technology exists doesn't mean low tech can't work. This is AAC. We speak English in our country. That's our primary language. Most other countries speak 2 languages, one of which is English. I like to think of AAC as the same. While we all speak this, many people might speak this or speak this, and it's no less important. So check out my links below. I will have plenty for you to go research on your own. Happy Autism Awareness Month, AAC. It's like another language. There are plenty of kids with plenty of things to say. Just listen. Have a great day.